Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Jingle, and happy Valentine's Day. I have a little bit of a cold, but I'm going to power through this review and get something out to you guys. I'm taking my wife to a nice dinner for Valentine's Day after this, but I wanted to do a quick review. We're going to be talking about My Demon Lover. But before we get into that, please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you're interested in more horror movie reviews on unboxings and figure reviews unboxings, this is the channel for you. My Demon Lover was released in April of 1987, and it was directed by Charlie Loventhal. I looked at his filmography, and I didn't see anything else that I recognized, but he also only directed like 4 films, but I believe this is the one that he's most known for. This was also distributed by New Line Cinema and produced by Bob Shea, owner of New Line Cinema. He's a legendary indie producer of films. He's most known for Nightmare on Elm Street, which really put them on the map, but I really enjoyed this film a lot. Another thing that's really crazy is that it was scored by David Newman, who has a legendary filmography of composing in movies. He's done How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Heathers, Ice Age, Matilda, the Scooby-Doo live-action movies, Cat in the Hat, Bill and Ted, Jingle All the Way, The Sandlot, Never Been Kissed, Alvin and the Chipmunks, The Nutty Professor, Coneheads, Flintstones. It just goes on and on. Chances are that you have watched many of the movies that this guy has scored. He also did Critters, which he mentions in the special features, but we'll get into that later. So this movie revolves around Denny. She's a girl who has really bad luck with boyfriends, and she's dating a crook who basically just robs her at the beginning and leaves her for nothing, and she just wants to find a guy that's going to treat her right. And we pan over to Kaz, who is the main male lead in it, and he's actually played by a guy named Scott Valentine. Now, Kaz is a street performer and saxophone player, and he has a really weird comical scene on a subway in the beginning, but it really gets his character, it sets the mood for his character for the rest of the movie. He's just this crazy, like, homeless guy, which is a very weird scenario. So the story is that whenever Kaz is aroused, he turns into a demon, and we find out later the reason why he got turned into a demon, and it's super wild. I don't want to get into it and spoil it for you guys, but you have to see it to believe it. We're also introduced to this nerdy klutz character named Charles, who Denny feels really bad for. He's in a bar and he's trying to pick up girls, and he's just spilling drinks all over himself, and everyone's making fun of him, and she just feels really bad for him. He seems like a really nice guy. But while all this movie is going on, someone or something is killing women at night, and the police and Denny's best friend is all over the case trying to find out who or what is murdering these girls at night. Another really cool nod, or not nod, but cameo, is Lynn Shay. She's in almost every New Line film, and I just never get tired of seeing her. I absolutely love her. She's the psychic in the Insidious movies, which she's really known for, and she's been in pretty much every one of her brother's movies, which I absolutely love. So when Denny and Kaz first meet, they have this super awkward interaction when she's out eating lunch. He's just like some homeless guy living on a couch, and he asks her for some food, and that's the way that they meet. And it turns out that she's eating like some kind of vegan hamburger, and it really pisses him off, and he follows her home. And that's how they meet, and it's just such a weird scenario to me. It's such an 80s scenario, and like it would never work today, but it really adds to just like the cheese factor of the movie, and it was really charming to me. Now, until Kaz and Denny started dating, I was not a fan of Kaz's character. Just the way that he acted, and like that he's like this dirty homeless guy. It was so unbelievable that something like this would ever happen, because Denny is this blonde babe who is honestly surprising that she's even having bad luck finding a good guy to date. But for her to pick this like homeless guy is just unbelievable. But it, like I said, it just adds even more to the cheese of the movie. But once they start dating, he actually turns into a pretty good guy, and he grows on you a lot through the movie. So just give it a chance, and he'll grow on you by the end of the movie. So it turns out that Denny wants to help Kaz break this curse that's upon him, but there's this wise shoe shiner that tells Kaz that he has to do something noble to get the demon out of him, and it will attach to the person closest to him, which really freaks him out since he's becoming so close with Denny. So he doesn't want to go through with it at all. There's some really amazing practical effects in this movie, guys. I just want to show you, I don't want to spoil it all for you, but I want to show you some notable effects that I really like. There's a lot more really amazing ones that I'm not going to get into, but here's the main characters. So the girl is Denny, and then the demon is Kaz. Every time that he turns into the demon, it's a different look too. So I'm not spoiling it completely by showing you guys this one look, which I think is really unique to have him look different every time he turns into a demon. It just goes to show how much love they put into designing the prosthetics makeups for this, and it's really really awesome to have that variety of looks throughout the movie. This is the main one that he uses, but he looks really, really good. Like I said, the practical effects work is just, it's next level in this. There's also the demon villain towards the end who looks really amazing. I didn't want to load up a high quality picture for you guys, but he looks really, really good. And you'll have to let me know what you think if you've seen this or check it out, because this movie, it really caught me off guard, and I'm surprised that I hadn't heard of it or seen it ever. Scream Factory put out a Blu-ray of it, and I think that there was like a Warner Brothers Archive DVD release, and there was a VHS, but this movie kind of went under the radar for the longest time until Scream Factory put it out on Blu-ray. So the first time that you see him in his full demon look, it did not look good at all. I was not a fan of it. I was like, man, is this really how this guy's gonna look as a demon in this movie? It's like, it almost looked like some like old person makeup. It was just not good looking, but stick it out and it gets better, I promise. Just like that picture I showed you guys, that look is really good, so that the first time you see him as a demon, don't get discouraged and just stick it out. So he thinks that he's the one that's killing the women, and they're gonna try and find that out, and you do find that out in a pretty interesting twist towards the end. There's some really cool like decapitation scenes in this, and towards the end you see this amazing gothic looking castle, which I absolutely love. Gothic horror movies, guys, like the old Dracula movies with the big castles and stuff. I'm a sucker for that stuff. So yeah, this was like a mishmash of different horror tropes that I really love. This creepy castle, demons, monster hunters, and on top of that you have a romance subplot going on throughout it. It's just really interesting that they found a way to make this work. Now, towards the end, he has to, there's a damsel in distress scene, and the way that Kaz has to turn into his demon form is so wild to me. It's crazy. It turns into a monster versus monster movie towards the end, which is amazing. It's like those old like Godzilla versus the smog monster type thing, which I absolutely love that. It just, this movie blends so many subgenres of horror together so well, and it's really cheesy and fun. So this is the Blu-ray edition I picked up from Scream Factory. It says, he brought out the best in her, she brought out the beast in him. Scott Valentine is my demon lover. So yeah, I figured that his name being Scott Valentine and this being a demon lover movie, it was the perfect review for Valentine's Day. Here's the back of it. You got some still shots of him as the demon and him and her, and they make a good couple, I think, in this. There's a lot of good chemistry between them, and you really like them together by the end of it. I'll just go over the special features with you guys really fast. There's not a ton. So there's Dating as Hell, the making of My Demon Lover, which I really like this one. What's really interesting, well, I miss that Scream Factory like used to make all these new like documentaries and type of things for their releases, which they're starting to get better about doing now, but there was a time period when they just weren't adding anything new, especially to like the 4Ks that they keep like remastering the Blu-rays from and stuff. Like I just want new stuff from them, and like these documentaries that they make are just, they're amazing, honestly. But and during that documentary, one thing that's really interesting is they checked out Jay Leno playing the main character before settling on Scott Valentine. And Jay Leno was just a stand-up comedian. This was before he had the show host gig going. So that was really interesting to me. There's also another really interesting detail on one of the monsters that I won't get into, but once they said that like this was what that was supposed to be, I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. I can see that now, which was really, really fun. And that was talked about in the Inside the FX, the interview with makeup effects artist Doug Drexler. And then you also have a new Rune Tunes Scoring My Demon Lover interview with composer David Newman, who he also scored Critters, which was really, really cool. And he's very, very knowledgeable of film in general. He's scored over 100 films, which is insane. That was a really fun watch, and those ones aren't very long. That was cool, but like I said, guys, I really enjoyed that movie. I think you should check it out. It's definitely like, I feel like it's an iconic video store era movie that like could only survive in that time, and I'm glad that Scream Factory brought it back to my attention because it was a surprise for me. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. Please remember to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.